Alright guys, working on the 89 Corvette here. I figured I'd throw out a video there on showing the how to change the exhaust. I've seen a lot of videos where they show how to change out the intake valve guide seal, and I figured I'd do one with the showing of the exhaust valve guide seal. Being this is 89, it never had this replaced before, and I noticed on the exhaust side, got to hook the air up here to it so we don't drop the valves down in the cylinder. And what I did notice was that on this one here, these little seals here are not on the those are not on the factory. When they come from the factory, those didn't have that on there. So we're going to take it off here and show you once. Tap these, break them loose a little bit. Once you get that, notice how I had that clicking sound. That lets you know that they're freed up a little bit. I'll put the I'll get the valve spring tool here on there. Oh, I see what I've done wrong there. I gotta get the you got to pull the push rods out. You got to take the push rods out. With this particular valve spring tool on this one, couldn't figure out why that wasn't going down. I forgot to take that out. Now we just clamp her down. Get your magnet tool. Pull the keepers out. Now we can release that spring. Notice how that didn't pop up. Still, there it come loose. Take the spring off. And here's what I've been noticing on all these that I've been taking off. This car's got about 82,000 miles on it. You can see that or not, but the pieces just break off. They're really hard. The rubber got hardened on that seal. And like I said, there's no other seal on the exhaust part when these come from the factory. So all these seals here. This car had a little bit of a smoke when you first started up. And that was due to these seals were bad, and plus from the factory they didn't have the extra seal on there from the factory on the exhaust part. On the intake part they got them, which are these ones right here, these blue ones. There's one of the old ones I took off from one of the other ones, but that's what they look like. That's on the intake side. I see a lot of videos where they show them, where guys are replacing the valve seals, and they're usually just showing on the intake side. So I'm showing this on the exhaust side, and how you tell on the exhaust is right up above your valve, is right up above your exhaust here. On the intake's up in here. So we get that cleaned up a little bit around that. Check the almost no play in that. You can have a little bit of play in that, but you don't want a lot, otherwise seals won't be any good if you got a lot of play between your valve stem and your valve guide. So I get that cleaned up as best as I can right there. And take a little bit of fresh oil. Put around that. Take your little piece here. It comes with the kit. Yeah, I actually cut this one down a little bit because it was a little bit too long. Put that over top of it. That way you don't tear up your new seal. And I like to put a little bit of oil down inside there, inside that rubber, so it slides over it nicely. Put that on there like that. Push it down over top, and it just sits on there like that. And that's your exhaust seal, which, like I said, they never had them on there from the factory. All they had was the one up here on the second groove of the valve, which every one of them that I've done so far has been real brittle, and they just break right off. And they're supposed to be they're rubber type. And those were actually really hard and broken up. So we change all of them out. Just a little rubber O-ring goes around that valve stem on the second groove. There's two grooves there. One groove is for your O-ring type seal, and the other groove is for your keepers to keep your valve spring on there. So next thing is make sure your spring assembly doesn't have any plastic pieces. I found some of these had from the seal was breaking off, and it was sticking the inside of the springs here. So you want to make sure your spring and everything's good and clean before you put it back together. And just clean it up a little bit. Make sure it's nice and clean in there. Like so. Clean that up like that. Oh, it looks pretty good in there. Don't see any plastic pieces sticking in the inside of that spring. Spring back on there. Plastic piece. Don't want to forget that. Don't want to do that. That back down like that. Back down. In this particular spring tool, I noticed that it wants to shove that spring that way, which makes it a little bit harder to get these rubber O-rings in there. So I've been trying to keep that over on this side as it goes down. So when you clamp that down, you ain't got much room there to put that rubber seal in there. Makes it a little difficult. Put that down over there. Gotta get over top of that first groove. And you don't want to tear that, so you gotta be kind of careful with it. There, I got it right down in there. So that went in pretty decent. Some of the other ones I had a hard time getting that down in there, because like I said, the spring tool wants to, and this, when you push that down, the spring wants to shove that way up against the valve, and it's kind of hard to get them little O-rings in there. So you got to be real careful on that, guys. When you do that, you want to make sure you get that seal in there just right. Otherwise, you just be wasting your time on putting those in. And we get the little keepers here. You don't want to drop anything. Be real careful with that when you're putting your keepers back in. Okay, that looks pretty good there. So we'll just release it slowly. And there it is. Then I like to make sure that's seated in there good. Like that right there, guys. Bring that back up, like so. Kind of keep that straight on the stud as best as you can, because you don't want to mess up your threads on your stud. So I just been doing it like that. Pull that off, and that's how you do the one for the exhaust, guys. I didn't see many videos out there showing the exhaust. Most of them were showing for the intake. Intake same way, just a different, on these a different seal. It takes the blue seal, and that seal there on the intake, it does fit down on that groove there on the bottom. It does fit tighter than it does on the exhaust side, so don't get too shook up about that. It's just the way it is on those. So anyways, guys, that's what I wanted to show you there on the exhaust side of replacing your seal, because like I said, there wasn't many videos out there I've seen on these Corvettes where they were showing that seal, because when you take one of these apart and it's never been apart before, and you get down there on the exhaust and you say, wait a minute, there was no seal like that on there. Well, that's the way they come from the factory. They didn't have that sealed. All they had was the little rubber O-ring seal on the valve stem itself. And this here is the one that goes on there to help keep that getting any oil down inside your exhaust there, which could cause it to smoke a little bit. So anyways, guys, that's how you do that. So like I said, the intake Basically the same as the exhaust there. I just showed you how to do that. So, and then you want to clean everything up. I'll go ahead and clean all these up. And then what I do is clean these up, and then I put a little oil on it, because it's kind of dirty a little bit. So I'll clean that up real good, and take and rub the oil on that push rod. Get those back down in there once I get this other one done, and that's how you do it. You just got to take your time. And like I said, I'm running air. You want to put air in your cylinder when you do that. There's different ways of doing that, but that's the way I do it on this. Most guys do it this way. They put the air in the cylinder to keep the valves from falling down in there when you take the spring off. And it wasn't too bad getting this. What it is that hose is off of a compression tester, and then you got to take the inside of the that little valve. You got to take that valve out of there for your air compression tester. On there, there's a valve in there. You want to take that valve, spin that valve out. It looks like a little tire valve in there. Make sure you take that out, because otherwise you won't get no air pressure into your cylinder. You got to take that out, hook it up to an air compressor. But on that side, on the see what number is that? On the cylinder 8 over there, it's really a bear to get that one of these hoses hooked up to that, because you're right up against the casing where it holds the evaporator system for the AC system. It's really a pain getting that hose hooked up, because you can't really see in there real good. You just got to kind of feel for it and turn that hose, and you're doing it. And that was one of the real hard problems I had. Spent probably 15-20 minutes trying to get that hose hooked up, but finally did get it hooked up. That was probably one of the hardest things on this to do, was getting that hose, getting the compression tester hose hooked up into that spark plug hole on the number 8 cylinder over here on this is an 89 Corvette here. So anyways, guys, just wanted to throw that video out there. Let you know on these 89 Corvettes from the factory, they don't have that seal on there from the factory, so they just got the one rubber O-ring on there. So that kind of threw me off when I started tearing into this. I didn't know that till I did a little research on it and found out that there was not one on there like this. So it's just an extra seal on there, help keep the oil out. So that's what we got, guys. So that'll do it for this video.